Good Wednesday morning, Central Georgia. You're taking a live look over the Georgia National Fairgrounds in beautiful Houston County. The time is now 6:30 a.m. here on this March the 15th. Thank you so much for continuing to stay with us. I'm Wanye Reese. Definitely a beautiful day outside this morning, but it's really cold this morning, Alex.
That's right. Compared to what we've seen over the past few weeks, this is the coldest we've been in quite a while. 32 in Macon right now, 35 in Warner Robins, down to 30 in Milledgeville, 31 in Perry, and 32 over in Dublin. We've got 29 in Fort Valley, 30 in Cochran this morning, 31 in Irwinton, 29 now in Washington County, and for the most part everybody at or below freezing. Now what matters is you factor in the wind here and it feels colder than that. It feels like it's 25 in Cochran right now, 27 in Macon, 27 in Gordon, 30 in Milledgeville, and it feels like it is 29 in Monticello right now. High pressure just to the north, continuing to slide to the east. That's what's ushering in this air from the Great Lakes. Of course, any air that comes from up there is going to be on the cooler side into the day today. We will see a bit of a shift in the wind, 63 the high temperature, a very few clouds out there, sunrise at 7:45. But then into the night tonight, another freeze watch in effect as temperatures will be able to find their way back down into the mid-30s before all is said and done. Rain late in the day on St. Patrick's Day. I've got a look at the high resolution future view hour by hour, talking about the rain details coming your way here in just a moment.
Thank you, Alex. This morning, 5 people, including 3 teens, face charges in the November death of an East Dublin man. The GBI says it happened in November at a home on Pearl Street. The coroner says officers found 59-year-old Jeffrey Bell shot once in the chest inside his home. Now the GBI blames members of the Crips street gang. The people charged are ages 21, 20, 15, and 2 16-year-olds. Charges include malice murder, felony murder, armed robbery, and violating the state's gang activities law. Well, bond monitoring service Supercom is now officially banned from monitoring suspects in Macon-Bibb County. Macon's Chief Superior Court Judge Howard Sims made that announcement Monday after a hearing revoking bond for 8 suspects. Authorities say the company failed to monitor suspects' ankle monitors.
There is nobody else that has messed this up. The sheriff's office, we tried to work with the monitoring company to let them know what was going on. We tried to tell them that they were having deficiencies. We even put them on notice to get their act together. They didn't even last 2 weeks before there was a disaster.
The DA's office says all 8 suspects violated bond, including breaking house arrests. During the hearing, Judge Sims revoked bond for all 8. They include 3 murder suspects, 3 charged with aggravated assault, 1 accused of aggravated sodomy, and another charged with aggravated battery. On February the 14th, Sheriff Davis placed Supercom and the bond company that hired them anytime bail on a 90-day suspension. That means they could not be hired to track any new suspects' ankle monitors. But within 3 weeks, one of the murder suspects they were supposed to track was killed in a shootout. Another murder suspect is still missing. It's 6:33 on your Wednesday morning. Police in Baton Rouge, Louisiana charged a man in the death of Nathan Millard. They say they arrested a man and want to question him in the death of a Covington father. They say he is currently charged with probation violation, criminal damage to property, 3 counts of access device fraud, and unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Millard was found dead last Monday, nearly 2 weeks after he was reported missing by his wife. Investigators are still working to determine how he was killed. The coroner says there was no evidence of trauma to Millard's body, but the circumstances are unusual. Former Clayton County Sheriff Victor Hill will spend 18 months in federal prison. That's less than the 46 months prosecutors recommended. Last year, a jury found him guilty on 6 of 7 federal abuse charges, including ordering inmates to be held in restraint chairs for hours without provocation. His sentence will be followed by 6 years of supervised probation. He's also required to pay $600. The new Georgia registered voting system is now up and running, and state election officials say it's going to shorten your wait times. At the beginning of last year, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger said the state would replace its voter registration system. But Bibb's Board of Election Supervisor Thomas Gillen says the change won't be super obvious to voters, just to the board. Gillen says Jarvis is replacing their 10-year-old system, ElectionNet. He says it's essentially the same system, but it'll work much faster and smoother. For example, Gillen says running reports with the old system could take anywhere from minutes to overnight. The new system would only take half that time.
With ElectionNet, we had to use an additional system to check the voters in, and doing both of those programs simultaneously took a little bit longer. Jarvis can do some of that all itself, and so we're not going to have to wait let the voter wait as long as we had before.
Now, there are still some small bugs to work out, and they'll test it at smaller elections next week. Good news, you may soon have some extra change in your pocket if Governor Brian Kemp signs off on a tax surplus. The state Senate gave final approval this week, and now it heads to the governor's desk. But some folks never received refund checks from last year. The State Department of Revenue says there's a few reasons you may not have gotten last year's surplus tax refund. The most common, you may have not filed both a 2020 and 2021 income tax return. Another reason, your tax amount due in 2020 was zero. You could also be a part year or non-resident taxpayer with a refund amount less than $1, or you were claimed as a dependent in 2020. As for this year, though,
as you know, we are doing that again, giving $250 back to single filers, $500 to those who filed jointly.
now the bill just needs to be signed by Governor Kemp to be official. Once signed, the payments will begin to hit taxpayers' pockets. The refund payments are categorized in 3 areas. Married couples filing jointly get $500. Single filers with dependents get $375, and single filers get $250. Kemp proposed the refund earlier this year after making it one of his campaign promises. Once the governor signs it, you can expect to start seeing your refund in 6 to 8 weeks. Today, Macon's North Highlands Park will be formally dedicated. The 28-acre area has a new basketball court, walking trail, and swing sets. Crews finished up work at the park last month, including a new park sign. Macon County owns the site, and Historic Macon coordinated the work. A $180,000 grant from the Community Foundation of Central Georgia paid for the park's design and construction. The dedication is at 10:30 near the intersection of Boulevard and North Avenue. A Warner Robins couple got inspired to start a new business after finding a hobby for their daughter. The couple was offering a cooking school for children, teaching food prep, cooking, baking, and etiquette. Daphne and Terrell Register want to put their daughter in a cooking class. They say the closest classes for children were up in Atlanta, so the couple decided to open the Young Chefs Academy in Warner Robins. Their space will hold 2 kitchens, allowing them to teach up to 20 kids at a time. Daphne says even though their focus is children, they'll offer stuff for adults as well.
So I'm really excited about bringing this to Middle Georgia. You know, Young Chefs Academy is about teaching the joy and value of cooking and having fun while doing it. And so I just think, again, you know, cooking is a life skill. It's something that the kids will enjoy. I think adults will enjoy, just the community in general.
I love that idea. The couple says they'll start preparing their academy next month and officially open the doors in June. They'll also hold camps, parties, and family events. 2 Jones County second graders wrote to us nominating their teacher for My Teacher as tops. Their letter was great, so junior journalist Taylor Clark headed down Gray Highway for this surprise to Jones County.
We're here at Turner Woods Elementary, home of the Tigers. We're not 1, but 2 students nominated this week's top teacher. Let's go surprise her now. Good morning, Mrs. Whitehead. I'm junior journalist Taylor Clark, and you're this week's My Teacher is tops.
I am shocked.
Wow.
Well deserved.
Wow. In Miss Whitehead's second grade class, it's a place of caring and learning. Ever since she started teaching 9 years ago, Miss Whitehead says she knew her love for kids and having an influence on them would bring her joy in teaching. Miss Whitehead says Turner Woods is like a big family, and her classroom feels that way too. Ella Kate Woolley and Ruby parent Lou teamed up to honor their teacher. They say they feel special being in her class.
To her, it is not just about learning. She is a very caring person, no matter what kind of day we are having. She makes us feel special at the end of the day.
And I wanted them to know that coming to school is a safe place and also a fun place. They can be themselves. And I get joy out of seeing them persevere and still with a smile on their face when they walk through the door.
Congratulations, Miss Whitehead. Students, keep sitting in those nominations. We just might come to your school next. Reporting in Gray, I'm junior journalist Taylor Clark.
Great job, Taylor. Congratulations to you, Mrs. Whitehead. Our junior journalists love to surprise your top teachers, so be sure to send in your nominations. Students, you can do that by writing us a letter or email. Send the letters to 1314 Gray Highway, Macon, Georgia, zip code 31211, or just email us at myteacheristops@13wmaz.com. You can also send us a video on the 13WMAZ app. Just make sure to include your name, your teacher's name, and what school you attend. Be sure to get a parent to help you upload that video for me. You may see a drop in diesel fuel prices. How this drop in prices impacts you as an everyday consumer is coming up next. Plus, we're just days away from the start of the Cherry Blossom Festival. What changes you can expect to see this year? It's now 6:41. Alex has your full forecast. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Wanye. We are looking live over downtown Macon, and it is a cold morning across central Georgia. No secret about it. At the freezing mark right now, but what's key here is this wind at about 5 miles an hour, making it feel like 27 out there on this Wednesday morning. 33 in Jeffersonville, 32 in Irwinton, 30 right now in Milledgeville. Down to the south, much of the same, 30 in Eastman and in McRae, 31 in Montezuma, and 32 waking up in Sumter County this morning. But the wind chills across central Georgia, many spots down into the 20s, including here in Macon, over in Gordon, Cochran, Unadilla, Montezuma, Butler, Forsyth, Monticello, Eatonton. I could keep going. A lot of spots out there with a wind chill in the upper 20s. Now the radar picture is quiet, thanks in part to high pressure that's just to our north. It's spinning in some air from the Great Lakes. Of course, anytime we get air from up there, it's going to be on the cooler side, and that's why we're looking at temperatures down near freezing this morning. Also why we're only going to make it into the 60s later on this afternoon. For tomorrow morning, another freeze watch in effect for central Georgia. This is going to be all of our counties here from north, south, east, west for temperatures to get down close to freezing once again. Now through the day today, we will get back close to 50 by the noon hour, into the 60s later on this afternoon. I have a high temperature in the low to mid 60s. Then into the night tonight, this is why a freeze watch is in effect, talking about lows here in the mid to low 30s in a few spots. And then through the day tomorrow, back closer to 70 across central Georgia as a southerly wind builds in and that high pressure begins to move away. Now here we are Friday at 6 a.m. We're going to be talking about clear conditions across central Georgia. Of course, this is St. Patrick's Day. All eyes down there in Dublin. 3 p.m. Notice the timing slowing down here just a bit, but some rainfall expected. Approaching Interstate 85 at this point, and then some heavier rainfall developing by 4 or 5 o'clock. This is going to be moving into central Georgia by the time we get into the evening hours on Friday. So I think we're okay through a majority of the day, but then from 5 o'clock on, we're going to be looking at the threat of rainfall across the area, and that's going to last into early Saturday morning. As for today, though, 63 going to be the high temperature. Another cool day. Very few clouds out there. It's going to be a mostly sunny day. Sunrise comes your way at 7:45. Still getting used to that from daylight saving time beginning over the weekend. Then for St. Patrick's Day, 75 the high temperature. Again, rain expected after 3 p.m. Winds out of the south 10 to 15 miles an hour. Sunset on St. Patrick's Day at 7:44. But for Dublin, of course, all the festivities going on down there, it is going to be a few degrees warmer, talking about a high temperature right around 77 at 5 p.m. And it's going to be from 5, 6, 7 o'clock on where the rainfall threat will be around there in Lawrence County. So, of course, we will be keeping a close eye on that. The hope is, though, we get the back edge of the rainfall out of Lawrence County and out of central Georgia for Saturday morning for the St. Patrick's Day parade. I think we're going to have luck in doing that. It took the rain chance off of Saturday, but it is still going to be a cool morning across central Georgia with lows down into the 40s and afternoon high temperatures. We should be close to 70 for this time of year, but the Cherry Blossom Festival, it's certainly going to be a cool one, at least cool to start this year in central Georgia.